Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a really interesting topic to dive into. We're breaking down an interview with Brett Cooper, where she talks about everything from the shift in culture to the rise of independent voices in media. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. So, in this interview, Brett Cooper starts by discussing how the cultural landscape has changed over the past decade.
In like 10 years, the culture has shifted in a way to where young people on the right now are edgy, they're the rebels. And we've been saying that, for the last 4 years. Like, you think you're the resistance, but actually you have every mainstream organization behind you.
But what's really interesting is what she says next about the youth today being edgy, in a time when young people on the right are starting to be seen as the rebels. This is a pretty big shift, and Brett breaks it down in her own way. She talks about how the so-called rebels of today are actually pushing back against mainstream culture. Brett argues that while some think they're the resistance, they're actually just following the crowd, whereas people like her are the ones really challenging the narrative. But the most eye-opening part of this entire interview comes when Brett compares today's youth to the rebels of the American Revolution. It's an interesting analogy, right? She talks about how the founders of America were young, driven, and fighting for freedom, just like the new generation today. She even makes the point that many of these historical figures were in their teens and early 20s. Which is something a lot of people forget.
Which I think people often forget. These were, 17 to 22-year-old men who were hungry and huge dreamers.
It's crazy to think about how young they were. Brett goes on to say that today's young people are also hungry for change, and we're seeing more and more of that in the culture today. Moving on, she also touches on something that's definitely been on a lot of people's minds lately. The shifting media landscape. Brett talks about how she's leaving the Daily Wire to start her own show because she wants to be more independent.
Young people are just hungry for independent voices who are authentic and honest with their audiences.
She mentions how young people today crave independent voices who are authentic and real, instead of just listening to the same old pundits. I think this is such an important point. Brett sees that people are getting tired of the traditional media structure and are looking for more genuine perspectives, whether it's through podcasts, social media, or independent content creators. People now have more of a voice than ever before. One of the most memorable moments in the interview, though, is when Brett asked about her critics. The ones who call her mean or exclusive. She doesn't back down at all. In fact, she says she doesn't care about what they think, and her goal is to help people understand her perspective and what she stands for.
I don't care, Margaret.
How awesome is that? She's clear that she's not trying to change anyone's mind, but rather she wants to foster more respect for differing opinions. It's all about nuance and empathy. Something that's really needed in today's polarized world. Finally, Brett wraps up by saying that she believes progress is still to come, and she welcomes more people to the conversation. It's a call for unity and understanding. It's something we could all take a little inspiration from.
Exactly. There's a lot of room at the Cruel Kids table. I'm welcoming you. I'm happy to have you.
Well, there you have it. Brett Cooper's thoughts on the changing culture, the rise of independent media, and how the younger generation is starting to reshape everything. It's a lot to unpack, but it's definitely worth thinking about. So, what do you think? Do you agree with Brett's take on the shift in youth culture and media? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.